To welcome you back to Black Site, and I want to talk to you about a case in New York City where a young man called Reginald Wiggins spent 9 years in prison without receiving a trial. He was on Rikers Island, the same as Khalif Browder. Those first 6 years he spent without a trial. His co-defendant in the murder, Jamal Armstead, had 3 mistrials. So they couldn't come to a decision that he actually committed the murder. So Mr. Wiggins, thinking he would never receive a trial, pleaded guilty to manslaughter, which he spent an extra 3 years in prison to make 9. Finally, he filed a lawsuit. It went to the New York State Court of Appeals. They decided to vacate his sentence and release him that day, saying that the Manhattan District Attorney did not give him a speedy trial under the United States Constitution, and that this man's whole life, his whole life was set back 9 years, have now been vacated by New York State. But he's not the only one. It's plenty of other black males sitting over at Rikers Island right now who've been there for 2, 3, 4 years who haven't received a trial. It's people in Cook County Jail. There's people in LA County Jail who haven't received a speedy trial. But this goes on under the watchful eye of a mayor in New York City named Bill de Blasio, who said that he was going to overhaul Rikers Island, but he has never done it. You have these major cities run by liberals. And the reason why I say this, because they are the people who say that they are on our side. But when it comes to the justice system, it seems like the only people who are receiving these heinous sentences and not receiving trials are black males. This is one of the most disgusting cases I have ever heard. But Reginald Wiggins is now stepping forward and suing the city of New York. And he should. And he should get millions of dollars, like so many other people who have been wrongfully convicted and imprisoned for this amount of time. How would you feel not receiving a speedy trial, not receiving a trial at all for 6 years? Then, because you could receive the trial, you just said, I'm going to plead out for manslaughter and spend up averaging an extra 3 years in prison. Can you get those 10 prime years back when this young man didn't go to a prime? He didn't go to a college. He didn't do any of those things. But this is constantly happening to black males. This is utterly disgusting. And have the federal government come in and see how many people are sitting at Rikers Island in some of these major, what I call hub prisons, like Cook County and LA County. How many of them are sitting in there for years without receiving a trial? This is how they keep the prison system full, which we know is the prison industrial complex full. They keep us in there. But this is no surprise. Justice is only meted out to black men. Can you imagine a white male being in a prison system and not receiving a speedy trial? How many white males have you ever seen on TV not receive a speedy trial? You thinking? You still thinking, because they always receive a speedy trial. And this whole system needs to be overhauled, because a large amount of this system, there is no checks and balances. People get lost in these huge systems, like Reginald Wiggins and Khalif Browder. This right here is a travesty of justice. I read this in the New York Post. This does not make any sense. How can you make another mistake after Khalif Browder in 2015? They have no respect for black men. And this system is made to keep black men in prison for as long as you can, because you got to think there's money to be made on imprisoning us. They don't want to imprison their own children, as you can see through the opioid crisis. When their kids are out here committing crimes, but they get to go to court and rehab. But when ours commit a crime, we go to jail for 10, 15 years. And then when we go to jail, like Reginald Wiggins, he doesn't even get a trial. He doesn't even get to prove that he was innocent. He just took the plea bargain to say, man, they not going to give me a trial. I might be here for 50 years without a trial. This is one of the most heinous crimes that nobody is even talking about. They want to talk about Trump all day. This is the real news right here. And people should be outraged in the African American community that a man in America in 2018-19 can't get a speedy trial. And basically, the district attorney put a gun to his head and made him plead guilty to manslaughter. And thank God for the New York State of Appeals, who looked at the Constitution the way it was written and said he did not receive what he deserved, a speedy trial. This should not be going on. And we must stand tall against this type of racism and white supremacy. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site. I hope you subscribe to this channel, hit that notification button, hit that like button, and also share this video.